Hi, this is Max from Push Pull, and I'm here with Sarah Maloney and Bean from Emerald Comics Distro. And we're talking about tips we give for newbies making zines. So we're all going to give you our best insight into doing your first self-publication. And my first tip is that paper has 4 sides when you fold it. So you want your zines to be divisible by 4. It's a magic number in self-publishing. And I'll throw it over to Sarah. What's your first tip?
Thank you. My first tip, I think, is like pick a point to stop, know where you're like working at, so you actually just get your work out there, because you can keep wanting to change things and you're like, one more thing, it's not ready yet. I think just get your work out there. You can always do a revised edition or something.
Yeah. My first tip would be, if your intention is to like consign your work at a shop, for example, like Push Pull,
Yeah.
put a cover price on your book. This is the number one thing I hear from retailers that they're like, this is neat, and I don't want to deal with this because it doesn't have a barcode, it doesn't have a cover price. I have to like keep a separate spreadsheet or memorize it or put my own label on it. So put a cover price on it.
Yeah. From us, like, it's mostly just putting a label on it, which some artists don't want, but also takes time, and occasionally the person putting the sticker on doesn't have the most wonderful handwriting. So, anytime you could just avoid that situation is great. So my second tip is to know what paper size you're working with. Generally, if you're self-publishing, then you're working with standard size pieces of paper. So 8.5 by 11 is letter size, and then your other standard sizes are going to be legal and tabloid. So if you want to design a 5-inch by 5-inch zine, well, that's not a standard size piece of paper. And so you're going to have to get a custom size paper, cut it down. It's going to be pretty expensive and kind of wasteful. So know what size paper comes in, and don't try to make it up.
That's a good one. I'm often wanting to do that, and then I'm like, wait, no, that's too much work. Going off that, I think also think about, before you start drawing, like think about what size you want to print it, right? Because if you draw something in a sketchbook that's a different dimension than you want to print, you're gonna have huge gaps or something. So just be aware of that. Yeah.
Going off of that, there's a concept that happens in pre-press called bleed, which is just depending on, like, if you're going to the copy shop and copying on the copier like the 90s, there's going to be, an 1/8 of an inch to a 1/4 of an inch at the edge that doesn't copy either at all or the way you want it. And that's one way of thinking about bleed. It's that little. So when you're designing something, if you're going to design something on the computer that you're going to print out, or that you're going to send to a printer, design with bleed in mind. Most printers cannot print all the way to the edge of the paper. Some can, and you need to have your art extend past to the edge of the paper for them. The terminology can be a little bit confusing. I know when I first started using InDesign, I was like, full bleed, what? But educate yourself. Bleed is your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. It was a challenge to me when I first started using like nice printers, and they were like, you need to include full bleed, and I was like, wait, you can do that? So my last tip is from very much from the store perspective. Most of your zines are going to be stapled, and you'll do a nice fold on them before you staple them. But afterwards, go back and do an extra fold along your spine so that they lay nice and flat. And it's going to make a huge difference for how it looks on your zine table, how it looks on a bookshelf, or even just, putting it in an envelope to ship to someone.
Yeah, That's a good one. Yeah. And again, like talking about making it look nice when it's all finished, the thing you spent all this time on, you're so excited about, is like paper has grain. And so if you fold it the right way, it's going to look cleaner because it like has sort of a way it wants to go already. So if you go with that, I don't have a piece of paper here right now, but maybe one of you do show.
Yeah.
Let's see.
This is a piece of cover stock, so it's a little easier, but it folds pretty easy along here. So this is where you would want to fold it. Whereas the other direction is really fighting me, and I'm putting like twice as much pressure and it's still not folding. If I fold it along this way, it's probably going to crack along the fold and not look good.
Thank you. Yeah, just to make it look nice.
I want to talk a little bit about displaying your work in a mythical future, beautiful time in which we're allowed to hang out in the presence of other human beings and sell zines on a table. Think about how your zines physically fit into, you know, whatever type of zine rack you might be using, or if you want to lay them flat on the table, is there a way that you can use like a little book stand or something to give yourself some dimensionality? Also, when you're tabling at a fair, what's really helpful for people who oftentimes, I think, I'm gonna wax a little bit philosophical, but I think we like live in a culture where we're bombarded by advertising so much that our main urge is to just not engage or like freak out or be like, oh my God, if this person talks to me, I'm gonna have to buy something, which is also very like Pacific Northwest social anxiety. So it's really helpful to have your prices clearly listed. And I've also seen several folks displays where they have like a little bookmark with a spiel about the particular zine, or a little like card that has like some keywords on it so that people are like, wait, werewolf romance, yes, or whatever. And that helps people like browse and look at your stuff without freaking out.
Yeah, that's a good one. I know I just want to talk to people mostly when I'm tabling. I'm like, just you can just like smile at me, or like, if you even look at it, I'm happy.
Yeah. I've had situations where, yeah, because I didn't have a price on something, people, for whatever reason, assumed that that meant it was free. And so
Whoop.
So I had some zines that I lost, and I was like, I saw the people walking away and went, okay, this is just a lesson I'm going to have to learn today. And then the next time I did that show, I made sure that there was prices on everything, and it helped. And also there was somebody who kept being like, how much is this? Like thinking I was going to give him a deal. And I kept saying, oh, the price is on it. So it kind of allowed me to avoid an awkward conversation I didn't want to have.
Yeah, nice.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, and just like have fun and put out things that you don't see in the world. I think that's the fun of it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you both for joining me today. And I hope that we inspire somebody to go make some zines.
Yeah. Thanks, Max.
Thank you.